Okay, so this is the demo for the graphic Signet project, and basically what you're going to do is use your initials to first create some versions, some style versions of your initials, and you need to do 4 different versions of it first, and then after that we want you to choose one of them that's your favorite, and then do 4 color versions of that one. You can either do this project in Inkscape, the freeware, or you can do it in Adobe Illustrator. Illustrator is actually a little easier to use, but the same thing can be done out of Inkscape. As you work on this, do save your working project as a plain SVG file type. You'll be able to, of course, reopen that file and continue working on it in Inkscape, but also if you need to, you can reopen that SVG, plain SVG, up in Illustrator also. Couple of ways to go about doing this project. You can either do it manually, actually draw the elements that you want to use to create your name. And these touchscreen computers are pretty cool because you can actually just do it right on the screen. That's going to give you a lot more of a natural look when you do it. But if you choose to do it that way, do realize that this is actually creating several objects. That's not a single object. And just for the need of keeping it simple and together, I'm actually going to group these objects. I can either try to do a drag select box. Well, no, I can't. It's not apparently working. Or I can do a shift select. I've selected one object, so now I hold down shift, and that's going to let me select multiple objects. And then once I have those multiple objects selected, I don't see a group right there, so I can go to, there's an icon for it somewhere, but you can always go to Object and Group, and the hotkey for it is Control-G. And that just makes that one element a whole lot easier to work with. Something else, like I had mentioned, one of the applications for doing vector objects is actually getting vinyl print made of it, like at a vinyl shop or something like that. But you couldn't take these objects as they are. Vinyl machines like to see a single object to cut. It would mess the vinyl up if I actually had this object with all these parts in it. So something else that you can do to simplify these objects is to actually combine them. Under my path commands, basically that's just the union command, and that actually simplifies that object. Let's see if I can get a outline view. Whereas this A, has all those intersecting areas, a vinyl machine would cut all that up into many different parts. But if I leave that like that, I don't think it'll do it now, but let's just see. No, well, if I ungroup it, it will. So if I ungroup it, I've still got all of them selected. Then I go back to my path command, make it a union. That's a good object that could be cut out by a vinyl machine. Let's get out of that. But again, if I was doing this just with these handmade elements, it's pretty good to do, pretty fun to do. You can adjust the calligraphic character of the way the pen tool reacts, so you can get a lot of variety out of that actually. And again, if I was going to try to take this and it be these various elements like this, again, that might be something that I want to look at in outline mode. Let me get rid of that line. But, if I was actually going to take this to a shop to get it cut or something like that, I would take it clean, so that they would, it would be ready to go. And then if I output this again as a SVG file, that's a single cut print for a machine or something like that. But let's say that's one of my design styles that I was going to submit for this. And again, whoops. There we go. Let me back that out of there. But again, you can also use the text elements right in the software. If I get my type tool, just put an APS. Let's make that bigger. You know, this is what I consider right out of the box. It's just bland, you know, all lined up and stuff. And, you know, there's so many options that you can do. First off, I might try to get a different font. I may even want to do something with a variety of fonts. You know, if you want to load some fonts in here, that's fine. You can do that too. Because I don't know that there are a whole lot of fonts on this actual computer right here. But let's say I was going to go with this. Whoa, why is it doing that? Okay, all right. Right now I can't do anything with this because it's a font object. I actually need it to be a vector object and see the individual parts of it. So what I'm going to do is under path, I'm going to do object to path first. Then after I do that, I want to break this object apart. So I'm going to go to break apart. And see if I can ungroup it. And then after I do that, I have the individual parts of that object. And then I can start to stylize it a little bit more. But again, these preliminary designs that y'all do, I do want you to just keep them very simple. Keep them very bold, a lot of contrast in them. Right now, this is just one single color. But if I want to do something a little bit different, let's say I'm going to group those, but then copy this, Control-C to copy it. Then paste it. Then let's say I'm going to work with the one in back and give it an outline color. Where's my color deal in this software? Right here at the bottom, I've got a stroke command. See if I can put a stroke color in this. Object. Fill and stroke right up there at the top. Right now my fill is black, or it can be whatever color I want to work with. But the stroke color is what I'm interested in right now. Right now it is X. It has no color. So if I wanted to give that a color, and then also increase the size of it, see if I can increase the size of that stroke. There's the color. Oh, that's under the next tab, stroke style. That's where I find the width. And then if I do something like that, and of course I know I said black and white, let's actually make that stroke paint white. Well, nope, I don't want to do that. Well, that's not going to do it either. Let's try wheel. And what I actually want to try to do with this is now I'm going to actually copy this object here, Control-C to copy it, Control-V to paste it, and then I'm going to send this one all the way to the back. And I want to change my stroke color just to something darker again. And then actually line these objects up. This one's not going to work good. Let me fix that stroke opacity back to 100%. Let's see. Probably the easiest thing to do is to select all three of those and then align them all. So let me see if I can select all three of those and do an alignment. Object, align and distribute. And basically what I want to do is get all three of those to line up right on top of each other. So I can get them to go that way and then that way. And the one that I have in back, if I actually had its stroke a little bit bigger, you know, that could be a little bit more effective. But that's the idea. You can get a little bit of a variety out of these elements that you're working with by, see if I can select the next object below. No, let's see. Let's just do this. I know how to put them together, and I guess it's easy to take them apart too. So stroke style, make that wider. And by getting it a little bit wider, that's going to get me a little bit of, again, I'm going to, just a simple way is just select all three of them. Then go to Object. And you know, it's debatable, but that's one way how you can get a little bit more variety out of this project. But once you do get the four styles with your initials, you'll need to output each one of them individually as a PNG. And again, the simple way to do that is just go to File, Export Bitmap, and by default it's exporting it as a PNG. Be sure to only have Selection selected. That way it's only going to export the object that you have selected. And so I'm going to do let me just do these to the desktop. Then I also want to do that with this one over here. So I'm going to make a selection of that complete object. And to test those objects, of course, you know, that cool property of a PNG is the transparencies that it's able to save. I like to test the look of those by just dropping them usually into a Word environment with a different color background or something like that. And that way, you know, you can see, you know, the effect of that transparency that it has. But that's going to be your third project. And like I said, just play around first inside of Inkscape or Adobe Illustrator to look for variety. That's what this project is about. Looking for different styles that you can sort of do with the same letter objects. And also it's really important to know how to break objects apart when they're text objects, so you're not just using the font right out of the box. And if you want to combine different fonts, that's fine too. Any way you really want to do this is fine. But again, the key idea with this is to do something of a lot of variety. And after you have all four, we'll look at those four, pick one to move forward in the design process, and then we'll do color versions on that one.